This is the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, published in 1986 by Games Workshop and designed by Steve Jackson, based on the fighting fantasy gamebook of the same name. The aim of the game is to travel to the Warlock's study, overcome the Warlock, and gain access to his treasure. The treasure chest can be opened by a 3-number combination, which you must discover as you travel throughout the board, overcoming monsters and traps. As this is a solo playthrough, I'm going to be playing it slightly differently to the multiplayer game. You move your character by rolling a die, and some people may find roll and move games a little bit tedious, but when you roll a 1, that's when you can make a key challenge. So you can, in the multiplayer game, you would call out, I think, the key number so-and-so is one of the keys, and then if any of the other players have that key, they must show you that, or not, if they don't have it. And by a process of elimination, you eliminate all the keys that aren't over here in the treasure chamber. In the solo game, I put all the key challenge cards that aren't there into that pot. So every time I roll a 1, I'll draw one out of there and hopefully end up finding out what those 3 keys actually are, so I can then open the treasure chamber. You create a character in a very similar way to the fighting fantasy books, and they're all created in the same way, so whichever miniature you actually use, it doesn't really matter. I've chosen the fighter. So off we go. I'm going to 4, so I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't move diagonally in this game. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we meet the first encounter. And this is a Hellhound with skill 7 and stamina 6. So we're in for a bit of a fight. So the monster rolls their dice first, adding their skill. So that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And now my skill is 11, so I need to roll a 4, which I managed to do. So I do 2 points of damage to the monster's stamina. Next round of combat, the monster rolls 15. Now I need to roll a 4 or more, which I do. So he's now down to 2 stamina. The monster rolls a 13. I need to roll 2, which I do obviously. And I defeated the Hellhound, which means I can take this treasure, which is a skeleton key, may be used as any key, so that's very useful when it comes to unlocking the Warlock's treasure chest. I can carry a maximum of 6 treasure cards, and that includes that skeleton key, so I have to be careful about what I keep with me, and sometimes I may have to drop some items. So I roll a 5 for my next movement. So I will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try this room. I've encountered a troll, skill 8, stamina 9, so he's quite a tough monster this time. So the monster rolls and rolls a 12, so that's 20. So my skill is 11, so I need to roll at least a 9, and I don't, so I lose 2 stamina, which takes me down to 19. Trolls rolled a total of 14. So this time I do manage to beat him. So I take 2 stamina off, that leaves him with 7. And a 5, so that makes his next roll 13. And I managed to beat that. So that brings me down to 5. And the troll rolls a 6, which is 14. I need to roll 3 on that. And I do, so he's down to 3. He rolls 2. So I can't be beaten there. He's down to 1 stamina. And that's 9, so that's 17 total for him. And I rolled 2, so he beats me on that one. Takes me down to 17 stamina. He rolls a 6, so that's 14. I need to roll a 3 or more, and he is defeated. So I'll take the treasure from this room, which are elven boots. You may roll 2 dice for movement, so that could be very handy indeed. So I now roll 2 dice for my movement in this turn. And I roll a 5 in total. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, try here. This encounter is a Hobgoblin, skill 6, stamina 6. The Hobgoblin rolls an 11, so that's a total of 17. So I need to roll 6 or more. Oops. And I don't. So I'm down to 15 stamina. Hobgoblin rolls a 6, so that's a 12, so I can't lose. I'll still roll, just in case. Right. So he's down to 4. That's a 10 for the Hobgoblin, so that's 16. I need to roll a 5. And I roll a 6, so he's down to 2. Hobgoblin rolls a 7. It's 13. I beat that, so I defeated the Hobgoblin. And I take his treasure, which is a bunch of keys. So if one of the key cards for the Warlock's treasure chest is one of those numbers, then I'm covered. But I am limited to how many treasure tokens I can carry, which includes keys, and I currently have 3, so I can only carry 3 more. So I need to start finding out which of those numbers aren't being used, so I can find out what that combination actually is. I'll roll again for my movement. 5 this time, and I've rolled a 1. So I can take a key challenge card, which is blank. Oops. So I don't get a clue as to what any of the numbers actually are. But I do get to move 5 squares. Okay, let's move back towards this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My movement again. 9, so that takes me happily into here. it's a special encounter. The Trader. The trader will buy any treasure card for 3 gold pieces. Will sell any treasure card unseen for as many gold pieces as are rolled on 1 die by an adventurer wishing to buy. An adventurer may do both, but he must sell before he buys. In this case, the cards are mixed up and the one to be bought is chosen at random. If the price is more than he can afford, he loses all his gold pieces and does not get the card. To be honest, I don't really understand any of that, so I'm just going to not bother. Yeah, that English is terrible. Sorry, Games Workshop, that really is a bit of a mess. I'm going to leave the trader where he is and keep on moving. That's a 7. So 1, 2, I'll go straight to here. A cage trap. Special encounter. Not so much fun. Okay, so I can take the treasure, which is another bunch of keys, which could be very useful. But I must miss a turn, not that that really matters in the single player game, but I then have to either test my luck or roll 1 die in the hope of scoring a 5 or 6 in order to escape. So I have 8 as my luck. So to be honest, I think I'll just roll 1 die in the hope of scoring 5 or 6. And I score a 4, and that's a 5, so it doesn't matter so much in the single player game, so it's not an ideal game for solo play, but you can sort of get away with it. So I roll a 9 for my next movement, and I'll just go straight across to here. Not rolling many 1s, which is unfortunate. And I've come across a Minotaur. So I've got another fight on my hands. So the Minotaur rolls. That's a 9, so that's 18 total. And I roll a 7, so that's also 18, so that's a standoff. Minotaur rolls again, which is a 9. Another 18. Let's roll 7 or more. And I do roll 11. So I start chipping away at the Minotaur. He rolls a 2. It's 11. I can't lose there. So he's down to 5. That's an 8. And 6 for me, so that round's also a standoff. And a 7 for him, so that's 16. And I roll a 10. So he's down to 3 stamina points. So that's a 5, so he rolls 14 total. I beat that, so he's down to 1 stamina. He rolls a 9, so that's 18. Sorry, that's a 10. So that's 19 for him. I roll a 7, which isn't enough. So he takes 2 stamina off me. 7, so 16 for him. I roll a 6, so that's 17 for me. So I defeated the Minotaur. I take his treasure, which is another skeleton key. So I've not run out of space yet. I've only got 5 treasures. I can carry 6 as a maximum, but I've got 2 skeleton keys. I've heard some reviews say that the use of the Fighting Fantasy combat system is a bit clunky, and that's probably right. It could be a lot more streamlined, but I guess then it wouldn't be in the spirit of the Fighting Fantasy books if it didn't use the same combat system. But yes, it could be more streamlined than that. So I'll roll my movement dice again, and I'm not scoring many 1s, so I'm not really finding out anything useful. 5. A ghoul, another monster. Not focusing very well, is it? Skill 8, stamina 7. So the ghoul rolls 11. So I need to roll 8 or more. And I just roll 8, so that's a standoff. That's 9 for the ghoul. So 17. I need to roll 6 or more, and I just roll 6, so it's another standoff. That's a 6 for the ghoul. So that's 14. I managed to hit him with that one. So he's down to 5 stamina. That's 10 for the ghoul, so that's 18. I need to roll 7 or more. I do. So he's down to 3 stamina. That's an 8 for the ghoul. 16. I need to roll a 5 or more, and I just roll a 5, so it's a standoff. That's a 3 for the ghoul. So I beat him in that round. He's down to 1 stamina point. And that's a 12 for the ghoul. So I need to roll, oh good grief, 9 or more. Which I don't, so he's injured me. I need to start building up my stamina again. It's a 7 for the ghoul. So I need to roll 4 or more. Oh gosh. Okay, another standoff. That's an 8. 16 total for the ghoul. And I managed to finish him off. I get some gold pieces. 5 in total, so I have a total of 6 gold now. And so after that fight, I've decided to eat one of my provisions, which will restore 4 stamina points, so I'm back up to 15, and I can't then eat more provisions in the next round. I have to wait at least 1 round before I eat provisions again. Not that it matters too much in the solo game, but those are just the rules. So I rolled to move again, and that's 8. I'm not rolling many 1s, so this is becoming a bit of a problem. I'm not sure if this way of playing the solo game is going to work, because what I had done before is that I would place a key challenge card under as many of these rooms as possible to discover as I go, and just using the random method from the multiplayer game of doing a key challenge when you roll a 1 for your movement dice, isn't really working very well because I haven't discovered anything at all. So let's find out what this encounter is. Orc, another fight. I'm not going to pretend this is the most interesting game at this point. So this is just relentless combat and not finding out anything I actually need to know. So let's have a fight with an orc. That's an 11 for the orc. So that's 18 total. Okay, and that is a standoff. The orc rolls again, 2. So I can't lose against that, so he's down to 3 stamina. It's a 7, so 14 total for the orc. I beat that with 12 there. It's down to 1 stamina point. That's a 3 for the orc. So I managed to beat him. So I find his treasure, which is another bunch of keys. And I now have 6 treasure counters. So when I find something else, I have to leave something behind. I'll roll for my movement. And it's 11, and there aren't any 1s, so I'll just go to here. Oh, it's the 4. Well, it might be more interesting than a fight. Sorry, that's not focusing. There we go. Okay, let's have a look what that means. If he has a treasure card, the fool will give it to any adventurer who encounters him. If he has no treasure card, he will give away as many gold pieces as are rolled on 1 die by the visitor. No adventurer may visit the fool more than once. The fool remains in his room throughout the game. So he gives me his treasure card and stays where he is. And it's the Eye of the Cyclops, which means, bizarrely, I can destroy the Warlock without fighting him. So what I'm going to do is get rid of a bunch of keys, because I can only carry 6 treasures, and see how we get on from there. Explore this last room in this section. I've rolled a 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a monster. Oh, it's the, oh gosh, it's the trickster. That doesn't sound very promising. This strange man is a practical joker. He demands 2 gold pieces or he will send his visitor back to the beginning of that section of the dungeon. Okay. If he has a treasure card and the 2 gold pieces are paid, he will allow the treasure card to be taken. He remains in his room throughout the game. I have 6 gold, so I will pay him 2 and he will give me his treasure and remain in his room. Hypnotic Eye. I'm going to drop I'm actually going to leave this behind. Or am I? I will drop a bunch of keys and keep the Hypnotic Eye. And I've rolled a 1 on my movement dice. Oh, it's another blank key card, so I'm still none the wiser. But I get to move 4. I need to start heading for the river. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I roll an 8. Oh gosh. I found the vampire. Good times. So the vampire rolls a 7 added to his 10, which is 17. I need to roll a 6 or more. I do. So he loses 2 stamina. He rolls a 4, that's 14. So... oh god. I thought I was going to beat that easily, but sadly not. No, he beats me on that round. He rolls a 3, so that's 13. I need to roll. I can't really lose, so he goes down to 6. That's a 6 for him, so that's 16. Oops. And he just beats me again. So I'll go down to 11. That's 10 for him, so that's 20. I need to get a 9 or more. And I get a 9, so it's a standoff. 8 for him, 18. So 7 or more for me, and that's a 5. So I go down to 9 stamina. Oh, that's a 10 for him. I need to roll a 9 or more. And I roll an 11, so he goes down to 4. That's a 5 for him. And he goes down to 2 stamina. Okay. 6 for him. 11 for me. I've defeated him. Now, what was his treasure? Another skeleton key. So basically, whatever the combination is, I have the keys to be able to deal with it. So I will take this and I will drop this bunch of keys because I don't need them anymore. So I've eaten another provisions, another one of my provisions, so I'm back up to 13 stamina, and I'm going to head off again. 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, that's the quickest way out of here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, the 4. 8. No adventurer may visit the Fool more than once, so I won't deal with him again. I will use my next turn to eat my final provision to take me up to 17 stamina. And then on my next turn I'll move on again. 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 7, 1, 2, 3, 5. What's the quickest way through? Okay, 6, 7. I rolled a 1 again. This is sort of irrelevant now. So one of the combination cards is not a 5. So I can cross that off my list here. Not that it's important anymore because I've just got skeleton keys. So I shall try to make my way through the final bit here. I'm going to have to come across some encounters. What does that lead to? Just go in here. And I have to fight a skeleton. Skill 7, stamina 6. So, he rolls a 7, that's 14. I managed to roll 3 or more, which I managed to do. He's down to 4 stamina. So that's 15 for him. And I managed to beat him by rolling a 7. So he's down to 2 stamina. And that's a 5. So I can't really lose there. So I managed to defeat the skeleton. His treasure is some orc ale. Add 2 provisions to your total and discard the counter. So I get 2 provisions, which is useful, and I shall use one of them to go back up to my initial stamina of 21. So that's useful. Now on my next turn, I'll move on again. 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. What's this encounter? Get through as quickly as possible. It's a zombie. Skill 6, stamina 6. So I shall take them up. Okay. So 7, 13. Can't really lose that one. So he's down to 4 stamina. 14 for him. Need to roll a 3 or more. And he's down to 2. That's a 7. So I can't really lose that one. And I defeated the zombie. What is this? You may hire the pickpocket. How strange. I don't think I'll bother. I shall just move on. 6. Where do I need to get to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, great. Giant spider, skill 7, stamina 8. Okay. Right, that's an 8. So I need to get 4 or more, which I do. So he's down to 6. Okay, that's a 6 for him. That's 13. I need to. Well, can't really lose that unless I'm really unlucky, which I'm not. So he's down to 4. Okay, 15. Beat that. He's down to 2. The Fighting Fantasy combat system is quite tedious if you attach it to a board game. That's the way the game's played, unfortunately. So I need to roll a 3 or more. And I managed to defeat the giant spider. Take his treasure, which is a bunch of keys, which I don't need. I've probably made this perhaps not more difficult than it needs to be. No, maybe not. Okay. 8, 1, 2, 3. Oh, spike trap. Okay, let's find out what this is all about. Spike trap. An adventurer entering the spike trap room must immediately lose 1 skill point and 3 stamina points. No luck roll. He may, however, claim the treasure card and climb out and move off the next turn. Well, anyone familiar with the Fighting Fantasy books will know that they can be rather arbitrary, so I suppose it makes sense that the board game should follow the same sort of methods. So I lose 1 skill point and I lose 3 stamina points, but I get the treasure. And this is some cheese. Yeah, it's clearly something more for the multiplayer game. So I roll for my movement, which is 11. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this is a pitfall trap. An adventurer falling into the pitfall trap must immediately test for luck. If he is lucky, he is not injured and may take the treasure card. If he is unlucky, he must lose 4 stamina points, though he may still take the treasure card. He may climb out and move off on his next turn. So my luck is 8. I roll 7. So I'm lucky. I can take the treasure card. And it's gold pieces. 3. That'll do nicely. That brings me up to 7. And bizarrely, you can circumvent the dragon's lair completely if you go this way. But I guess it makes more sense in the multiplayer game because you're taking a lot of time travelling down this passage here. So 12. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, this is just a mess. 10, 11, 12 maybe. Try and make my way through the maze. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's a dead end. Seven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is another dead end. I have to go the long way around. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's have a look. Okay. 10, 11, 12. Oops. I'll go over the top. 2, 3. This is where the solo element loses its charm, really. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My face. The Warlock. But I have the Eye of the Cyclops. So I kill the Warlock without a fight. And I have 3 skeleton keys. So no matter what the combination is of the chest, I can still open it. The combination was 2, 3, and 6. And I open the chest and I take the Warlock's treasure. Not a completely satisfying solo game, but I think probably, well, if I hadn't have gotten all those skeleton keys, it would have made more sense to have to explore more of these rooms. And the other method I used, as I mentioned earlier, was to put the key challenge cards under all the different rooms, or as many as possible. And so that made exploration more of an important part of the game. But if you find 3 skeleton keys, and you find the Eye of the Cyclops, then you can just wander through and win. So, not ideal for solo play, but I really do like the miniatures, and it has a lot of nostalgia because I really used to enjoy the fighting fantasy game books. You have your generic adventurers here. You can be a cleric, or a wizard, or a dwarf, or a barbarian, or an elf. But none of the character classes really matters because you roll up the adventures the same way. You have all these adventure sheets to generate your characters on. So it's nostalgia over substance, really. But there you have it. Warlock of Firetop Mountain, the board game.